Hello and welcome to this episode of Crunch Time. My name is Nathan Shively.
I'm Joshua Fitch.
We are students at Fitch, and this is just a sports talk show talking about sports going on nationally, locally. Today our focus is actually going to be on college football, and we're actually going to rank our top 5 conferences. We'll start with you, Josh. Who are your top 5 conferences? We'll start with number 5.
All right, here we go. Number 5, I got the Big 12. Talking about the Big 12, usually you start talking about Texas. Baylor, obviously, next. Head coach, Kansas State next, I think. Mm-hmm. Best head coach in the conference, Bill Snyder.
Yeah, legend.
I think it was an improvement. What about you?
My 5 actually is of ACC. I know Florida State, they went undefeated in the regular season, but after them, it kind of drops off.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you have your Georgia Tech and Duke and Louisville. They made it to minor bowls, but not quite to the level of Florida State.
I think you can even say Florida State, even though they went undefeated, they didn't play well. I mean, other than Jameis Winston and his off the field issues, I don't. Mm-hmm.
They just
I don't know. Florida State's tough for me as well.
Right. Oregon definitely showed them up in the bowl game. What about your number 4?
Number 4, I'm gonna go with the ACC. I think Clemson was definitely hurt by departure of Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins last year.
Yeah,
that's a lot to recover from. You know, both first round draft picks in the NFL. They never really recovered from it. Even though Dabo Swinney is still an amazing coach. Players always seem to like him. He did whatever he could, but I just think the loss of those two were just too much this season. I still think they can overcome it.
My 4 is actually going to be Pac-12. Marcus Mariota, obviously, best player in the nation, Heisman winner. Even Arizona this year, they had Richard Rodriguez as Coach of the Year. That's big for them. He got fired from Michigan a couple of years ago, and now he's winning games for them. What about your number 3?
All right, number 3, I'm going to go with the Big Ten. Obviously, Ohio State has proved to be the best in the Big Ten for a long time. Even though they're in their national championship drought, as of right now, we don't know the game coming up, obviously. They've always won bowl games. They had the Rose Bowl a few seasons ago. I think they're the powerhouse in the conference.
My number 3 is actually going to be Big 12. I'm a little bit higher than you. TCU and Baylor. When you finish 5 and 6 nationally, and they're both in the Big 12, that's huge. I think the reason that they didn't get in the college playoff is they did not have a championship game. Big 12 got proven that if you have a championship game, you can actually get into the playoff. That's just kind of a shot in the foot for the Big 12. They did that to themselves. What about your number 2?
All right, number 2, I'm going to go Pac-12. Oregon, obviously, Marcus Mariota, Heisman Trophy winner, best player in the country. He's been amazing this season. No one's been able to stop him. No one. Not only him, the offense as well. I don't know how, as we just said before, I don't know how Ohio State is going to react to their offense because their tempo is so quick. But I mean, again, we're just going to have to see. But number 2, I'm going with the Pac-12, mainly because of Mariota and the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah. My number 2 is actually going to be a big shock if you just look at the regular season. I actually have the Big Ten.
Yep.
And I had them at 5 until after the bowl games where Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, they all came up with big wins over Big 12 and SEC opponents. Yeah. All right. So who actually is your number 1?
Number 1, I think it's kind of obvious, SEC. I mean, for years, Alabama, Georgia, they've dominated the SEC. Alabama, though, they just lost in the college football playoff to the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I think, given Alabama's history, that surprised a lot of people, especially the way they started out in the game. They came out firing on all cylinders, got some turnovers, weren't able to capitalize on some of them. And I think that kind of kept Ohio State around for a little bit, and that gave them confidence. So I'm going SEC number 1, no doubt.
Yeah, I also have SEC number 1. But maybe even next year, whether you see Big Ten, they just got in Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
Maybe Big Ten could overtake the SEC as we just saw in the bowl games.
And that's going to be an interesting matchup next year. Jim Harbaugh,
Urban definitely. Meyer. The rivalry just got reborn between Michigan and Ohio State. As you can see, my whole side actually have Pittsburgh stuff opposed to his all Cleveland stuff. I was actually born a Pittsburgh sports fan, also Penn State football, which we're on the rise again. We got got some big recruits that are going to be helping us out.
Well, obviously, I hate Pittsburgh. I'm all Cleveland. As our show goes on, as
Roberto
the season
Clemente,
goes,
rest in peace, bud.
I'm okay with the Pirates. The
Okay.
Pirates I
All right.
can deal with
Yeah.
because baseball and the Indians are kind of my least favorite of the sports.
Yeah.
But the Steelers. I mean, come on.
Yeah, just boring.
Obviously,
yeah.
I'm all Cleveland. I love the Browns. Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, obviously LeBron James.
Paul Mahler.
So, oh my goodness.
Look at that. That's a ring. Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what that looks like?
Anyway, as the season goes on, you'll see more and more props and jerseys. We'll be wearing different stuff throughout the season. By the end of the season, our set is going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Pretty-
definitely. We got some big plans ahead, so make sure you stay tuned.